Every year, hundreds of children are diagnosed with cancer. However, many of them do not survive over the period, even though childhood cancers are curable. There are lots of factors that go into this struggle. But today, we bring you a rare narrative of a survivor's story. There are just 2 treatment centers in the country. One at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi and the other at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital here in Accra. Again, many of the cases, unfortunately, are reported and detected only when the disease has reached an advanced stage. But Frederick Kote said Na's case was different.
When she was 5 years old, I saw I could see that there was a change in her appearance, especially the abdomen. It got swelling. So I thought it's just a normal swelling. So I apply ointment to it. The more I do, the more it becomes bigger. But they realized that the problem was beyond their control. So I should send her to Korle Bu.
She was only 5 at the time. Her lips were swollen and showed symptoms of malaria. But unknown to her parents, her kidney was rotting away. Doctors later diagnosed her of cancer of the kidney. They were determined to save her life, but also to provide some emotional support. It began with breaking the news.
Yes, it's one of the most difficult parts of our job because in our society, cancer is used as a death sentence, especially if it's just a child. I mean, just imagine telling a parent that your child has cancer. It's very disheartening. So we try to be as empathic as possible. But we need to tell you the truth and the implications. But we encourage them because childhood cancers are curable, and it's painful to see a child die of a curable disease.
It was now time for Na to begin treatment, 40 weeks of chemotherapy before surgery. This took a heavy toll on her parents, both financially and emotionally.
And yes, 40 weeks. And I'm not going to scare anybody, but the treatment is very, very expensive. That is why from day one we've been pleading with the government, those who can help us to come and assist the children at the ward. It's very expensive. Number 2, it's very stressful because the children, they are not adult. You have to leave whatever you are doing to come and be with the child. If you dare, you think the doctors can handle. The doctors are many, but we are more than the doctors. So they can't have too much time to be helping your child, but you have to assist yourself.
This also spelled doom for Na's education.
I was feeling bad that I was not going to school and was left behind, and my sisters were all going to school. I was the only person in the house. Every day too, I have been going to Korle Bu. So I was feeling bad that I was not joining my friends in school.
Now that you have been treated, how do you feel? You are back to school. How do you feel?
I feel fine and happy that I have joined my friends.
It's midday and pupils of the Pentecostal Center are getting ready for lunch. I meet Na and her teacher. Na runs to her father who accompanied us. She's beaming with smiles in her yellow and white uniform. She looks healthy and has regained all the hair she lost during the 2 years of treatment at the hospital. Her teachers are excited to have her back.
So when she came to my class at first, she was very down due to the disease. She's a very intelligent girl. Yeah, so when she came back, it was like she never missed any of the class.
One major factor militating against the treatment of childhood cancers is the lack of accommodation for parents whose children are receiving treatment. The Ghana Association of Childhood Cancers have started a 3-story facility with support from the Office of the First Lady.
Whilst my story on the other side in the UK, you don't have to think about that. Systems are in place. So a child is born, the child has got access to health care. And when the child was diagnosed, immediately, within a few hours, we knew what we were dealing with. That tells you the speed at which things were done. The scan, the test, everything. All right? There are support groups, there are NGOs who are also around working within cancer region. They come to the ward and even tell, please, we don't have enough, but just about some £300 for you to keep going. We are with you. Is there anything that your child needs? Toys, or you want to travel somewhere, we are ready to sponsor something like that. Those things are sort of psychosocial support. They try to help the parents to calm down because they know what we're going through is just too much. And here in Ghana, dealing with other parents, exactly that's what's happening. A lot of pain, a lot of stress. Some people abandon treatment because they don't have the money to travel from wherever they are and then come over to Kolebu to get a treatment and go back. So as a parent group, that's why we're advocating. Look, the parents need a place to stay within the hospital environment. After the child has gone through chemotherapy, they are so weak to travel a very long distance.
So the structure you see right behind me is a hostel facility being put up by the Ghana Parents Association for Childhood Cancers with strong support from the Office of the First Lady, the Rebecca Foundation. Now, this 3-story building unit, if completed, will go a long way to reduce the stress that parents whose children have been diagnosed of cancer and actually receiving treatment here at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital go through on a daily basis. Meanwhile, there are calls for government to put the drugs needed for the treatment of childhood cancer on the NHIS. Na Ajelejani is a medical student who has started an online campaign.
Being a student, I got the opportunity to do a number of internships with hospitals. And then I found out the situation on the ground was that these children come in, and even though childhood cancer is treatable, they are not able to be treated because they don't have money. So I was thinking that just like breast cancer and just like the cervical cancers and all that, why don't we get a system that can secure our children's future by putting the drugs on the NHIS so that at least we are sure that we did our best and not because they didn't have enough funds or enough money.
And just like they say, one good turn deserves another. Little Na wants to be a doctor. Here's why. Fantastic. Now, what do you want to be in future?
A doctor.
You want to be a doctor in future?
Yes.
Why do you want to be a doctor?
To help others like how the doctors help me.
Ernest Manu for Joy News.